Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2, and I have the pleasure of introducing to you the red Zerg player in the top left yet again, the final boss. It is Dark. And yes, for the nth time in so many years, his eternal nemesis, not the Protoss we deserve, but the one we need right now, the smiling assassin. It's herO. herO has gotten the better end of Dark. Not that there's a bad one. In several of the last series. This is the Korean StarCraft 2 League Finals. The one put together by the people, for the people. Chicken Man and Dave Testa putting another tournament on. And not just to pad the pockets of these two players, but to pad the content of your favorite YouTube casters. And if you have a favorite, don't share it. But you can like and subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we at? 1,061. Wow. Crazy how that... 1,061 likes. Now cast another series. And statistically likely to be Dark versus herO again. But not every time. I wouldn't complain too much. So thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully I make your day a little bit better. Hopefully herO learns how to shut the door on Dark. Or we see an interesting intrusion of privacy. As starting things off on Babylon, best of 5, by the way. So that means it could be anywhere from 15 to 150 minutes with these two. herO starting things off with the triumvirate build. The triple oracle, beautiful slide by, but Dark tries to slip into the third with the handful of Zerglings he built early. Not going to happen. Twilight and Forge behind, so we're not going with the Moracles build here in Game 1, where he just keeps building oracles until it works or it doesn't, and honestly, usually the first one. But instead, something a little more typical, the herO build. The one he popularized last year. I want to point something out, by the way. I think this is appropriate. Dark using the Dark portrait. herO using the Zest portrait. We all have our favorite players. herO, it's Zest. Dark, it's Dark. So, an appropriate, appropriate split when it comes to the interests of these two players. Well, we got blank and +1. This is the classical gateway follow-up. I like herO has one oracle. I do think this is something that's a little underutilized. Is splitting the oracles. 2 oracles are enough to burn through drones, right? So you have your opportunity to do stasis, potentially kill units, and then 1 oracle back at home or out on the map just to get some constant scouting and information. Those oracles, the Swiss Army knife Protoss, pretty much do whatever you need and then some. And just the fact they fly makes it difficult for Zerg players to put together much of an attack early on without something that can fly themselves. And I'm not talking about queens, no. A Spire from Dark, just when I thought we might see the standard Ravager Baneling. No, Dark breaks out the Spire for the Mutalisk. Well, it's on the table. I think he's successfully ascertained that this is going to be a ground-based army out of herO, and even Blinkstalkers. Blinkstalkers aren't so much anti-air, strongly suggesting that air units stay away from this particular area. Without Archons, without Phoenixes, you don't actually have much of a direct response. herO already setting up, wow, a forward operating base here. He's got stasis, he's got gateways, he's got proxy pylons. He doesn't have a warp prism, so that's why most of this is here. Meanwhile, though, the Blinkstalkers block right in, take out one of the Ravagers. And looking at the rocks, I'm not sure if he actually wants to take them down. He's flirting with the idea. He got that option on the table. We're going to take maybe 1 more volley from the Blinkstalkers. The Spire is about to complete, but Dark has already used all of his gas. He wasn't quite prepared. It's been a little bit since we've seen herO do this the quick blink timing build. And it's looking incredibly dangerous right now. As Dark is in trouble, He's not able to get his hero, not his hero, his Mutalisks out. He has enough Ravagers and Lings, but he loses his 4th hatchery. And he has no direct response to all this. And already, does Hero suspect the mutas, or is he just sprinting into carriers? Because he's got a fleet beacon. And rarely do you make a fleet beacon without carriers, at least in the back of your mind. And he's not building any Phoenixes. If he was building Phoenixes, I'd be like, oh my god, how is he reading him so well? Hero! He finally did it! Yes, he has to break it down. But in the most massive, titanic change to Hero's gameplay, he finally built a pylon to wall off while he was attacking. And yes, he just got rid of it because he came back home and the game will continue because Dark had enough. But Hero, proving Protoss, even after all this time, can evolve. He built a door. It's more like a wall. It's just a wall. But if you break it down, then it becomes a door again. But much better than losing a third of your economy to Zerglings while you're microing out on the map. So Hero, you know what? This gives me hope in general. Well, Hero's already quite accomplished against Dark, but Dark is in trouble. Even though he's got 5 mutas circumventing said wall, carriers are on the way. So here's the interesting part. His carriers are now scouted. The 6 mutas here only takes 5 mutas to one-shot a probe, so Dark pretty much just looking to prompt a response now. He sees the carriers. He sees pretty much the rest of the infrastructure. The most important part was the carriers, though. So now what? He's got Hydras on the way. A hive as well. He's at 72 drones, just now rebuilding the 4th. He's not actually building Corruptors, but instead Hydralisks. There is no Storm at the moment. There aren't really any Archons. I believe he just finished up a Templar Archives. He did. But without that form of splash damage, you're still going to struggle against the mass Hydralisk style. And 2-4 carriers, maybe even 6 carriers aren't enough. When you start approaching double digits and the Golden Swarm blots out whatever passes for sun in this universe, that's when you need something a bit stronger. Corruptors, Vipers, Infestors. But until then, Hydralisks, and more importantly, Dark's Hydralisks, can be enough to match the carriers. Hero reinforcing. Carriers have arrived. At a fortuitous timing, we'll be able to take out at least one more of the mutas on the way by. 66 to 71 workers, neither of them particularly greedy here. Yeah, the mutas are being chased down. Dark will not survive it. 4 carriers on the field. But Dark is not intimidated. He's got the Vipers in production. Pathogen glands. Muscular augments complementing the groove spines of the Hydralisks. He's got +2 ranged attack as well. He's got all the fixins here, but Hero is adding in a double robotics facility underneath. So he's looking to take the Hydras head on. Possibly the biggest head in all of StarCraft. The Colossus. A head so large it can get hit by air units. Seems like a design flaw. But the Hydra count, he's at 21 with 3 Vipers. There's only, asterisk, only 5 carriers on the field. It's mostly a ground army from Hero, but if he's able to take out enough of the Hydras, then the carriers can run the table. Lurker Den, +3 ranged attack for Dark, +2 for Hero. Air and ground weapons. The Stalkers trying to look for something will find a whole lot of Roach Hydra. Not exactly what they were looking for, but a kind of Hero trading out supply for more carriers here. Obviously, he doesn't want to just give away the Stalkers, but if they don't end up making it all home, that's not going to be too terrible for him. But get over here, Dark, what? He gets 2, and he makes sure number 3 on the carriers goes down, but at the same time, blink Stalkers to the north. At the 12 o'clock, the Queen's transfusing the hatchery. It will go down, but at what cost is Hero Oh, well, not so bad. But another carrier yanked out and knocked down as Dark goes harpooning and comes up with the biggest whales, I guess, outside of a mothership. The Vipers looking good right now. Where are the feedbacks for hero? The wall! Not that it would stop the Roach Hydra, but the Hydras are inside the natural. Targets down the battery. Carriers have arrived yet again. Another attack to the south as well. This is a lot of supply getting jammed up for Dark, but a big response from hero, which leaves the 6 o'clock base exposed. Dark, ever annoying with his Roach Hydra, has the one of the least complicated armies in all of StarCraft, and he's utilizing it. This is one of the oldest styles, but it still checks out. The Roach Hydra. But now Lurkers on the way. The carrier count has been cut down to 4, and some of those, the reinforcing ones. A few Vipers, feedback, parasitic bomb on Oracles. That is certainly something. The Oracle's all gonna go down. Yanks in a carrier. Blake Stalker's trying to body block. A bit of a glass cannon move there, but more carriers on the back line. Supplies nearly even. These two so incredibly matched. As Dark manages to hold on, and Hero retreats with most of his key units. And I cannot decisively say, I don't know exactly what the placeholder there was. Can I hover over that? I don't know what that is. Take your guesses. I think he may have killed his own unit or something. A stasis? Okay, accidental state. Anyway, either way. So, about even in many ways after that fight. The carrier count is down to 2. Storm on the way. Here we're going back to a ground army. Dark working in infestors and vipers as we've actually gone to the skies, and now we're back to ground. Not the usual progression of tech, especially for Protoss, but dramatic times call for dramatic measures. And now Psionic Storm to be matched with infestors as both players go back to their corner, sit on 4 or 5 bases, and try to rebuild after what's been a costly game thus far. Both players have lost around 12,000 minerals and 4,700 gas, give or take a few hundred there. Nearly dead even. Now that is a death ball of death balls. Hero is building the Protoss army. He's got Disruptors. He's got Storm Templar. He's got Immortals. Archons. He's still got a few carriers left over. And the death balls fling out. Blast apart a couple lurkers. Meanwhile, though, Dark has his slimy Zerg. He's got the Vipers and the Infestors ready for the wombo combo potential. Fungal and Blinding Cloud or Parasitic Bomb are 2 of the most effective, but feedback and a counter fungal though. Might try to chain it. Another one finds, yanks out a carrier. We'll go down to the queens, as well as some spores. And there is no wall, but there's almost no defenses. Dark might try to divide and conquer. Big warp in here, doesn't target down the pylon, just tries to use it against the Protoss. And the Hydras will get taken out. Quite a costly one for Dark, but he's killing a lot of probes, and he's dragged much of the army supply out of the way here. Yanks out a Ruptor. No shots from him yet. Another one trying to ward away. Clips a Lurker. 16 probes, 17 probes down. Hero's starting to bleed a bit economically. Yanks in a Ruptor. Gets a Tempest. By the way, there's Tempest. And Storms being laid down, but now the Queens are weathering it. Transfuse has been enough for now. The Lurkers will retreat as Hero brings a cornucopia splash damage to bear. And finally, Dark. Oh, Dark wants to win now. He's finally building the Corruptors. He understands that Corruptors in a drawn-out fight are usually not an ideal choice, as Corruptors do not hit ground. So many times we see the air get wiped by the Corruptors, and then 20 Corruptors sit by and watch Archons murder everything else. So, Dark wants to deal with the air army and then sweep away the ground. Maybe not in that order. But here he comes. Lurkers scampering up. Getting dangerously close to the Immortals, though. Point-blank shots from the Raptors. Blast apart the Disruptors. The Corruptors are not doing nearly enough. Still a few Lurkers holding the line, making it so Dark is not out of it yet. But a bit of a haphazard fight there that hero is able to control. And he wards away the Lurkers. He kills a lot of the Corruptors. There's not that much left. Hero, the clear victor in this late stage. Now, wait a second. I'm not sure what Dark was really trying to accomplish there. He really wanted to get something done the moment the Corruptors came out, but what he may have done is consign himself to a very mediocre position, as he's pretty much exhausted. He has no more spellcasters. He has no more Infestors or Vipers right now. And he's up against an army that conventionally is going to be very difficult to beat, especially without those Vipers to maybe pick out the Disruptors from the fight. The Disruptors are a massive danger to everything on the ground, including Protoss units, though usually they're pretty careful about them. Infestors with Neural Parasite even could potentially turn it around. Dark is in a tough spot, but it's not impossible yet. He's been in this sort of position before, and I don't trust another Zerg in the world to find a way out of it like Dark can. He walks in the darkness. He owns it. He was born in it, molded by it, named after it. So, there's not... Oh my. He's killed 11 probes, dragged the entire army back. Supplies getting dangerously close to even. Observer comes back. Another base to the top right. Hero's army supply is looking quite intimidating. 121 right now. Observer speed on the way to be able to help chase down these Lurkers. Dark, another counter. Disruptor fires away. Kills another Lurker. 20 probes down. Hero can't seem to pin Dark down. The only time he was able to get a winning fight was on Dark's side of the map. Another Hydraling counter. You can't help but tell that Dark is buying time here. But with enough of it, well, here comes some Lurkers. That's just Archons. Very scary, but with the Lurkers and the Hydras to outrange. Wait a second. Losing Archons, that is not cheap. And it becomes even harder to replace when you lose a Nexus alongside it. Dark has turned that supply gap around, as Hero doesn't seem to be... He just keeps going back and forth, seesawing. Is it Queen Brenda? No! A little too far on that one, but... The army supplies are back to even. I do still point out there's a... In terms of the complexity of the army, in terms of the overall strength, Hero's army is still the one to beat. No amount of Hydraling is going to compete with quite this much Protoss. Dark is going almost into a full-on base trade here. Is there any storm? No. Oh my god, Microbial Shroud used against the Interceptors. And of course, here we go. There was a recall though, I believe. Or actually, I'm not actually sure. There are units all over the place right now. A lot of the units getting caught. There's Lurkers in the main, and Dark just taps out, so it's over. Dark eventually gets pinned down. Enough of his many limbs chopped off that Hero is able to keep him in a manageable position. So, game one goes to Hero's quick sky toss, back to ground, back to sky toss, kind of a roller coaster transition. Dark looked like he had the army for a few moments, but then chose a mediocre battle. Yeah, just straight up here, just straight up using the Zest portrait. Beautiful. Huh. A hectic game one. Appropriate. Yet not unexpected. But That's why we play longer series. Hero, I still gotta point out, the most exciting part. This is, am I old? Or am I just a huge strategy game fan? The most exciting part of that to me was Hero walling off his natural with a pylon when he went to do his first Blink Stalker attack. After the first attack, when you already have 4+ bases, the counterattacks are less devastating. They're less likely to just end the game outright. But how many times have we seen Hero do like a mid-game attack and then 20 Zerglings get in the base and kill 15 probes? Too many times. That's the answer. Correct answer. Good job. So, of all the things, of the crazy, not so crazy, but like dramatic tech switches and control, the walling off of the pipe, the simple things. Protoss is all about preparation. One way or another. Whether it's on the ladder, preparing the finest, most surprising and dangerous cheeses in order to win a best of one. Or, especially in these longer series at the top tier pro level, preparing to minimize, you essentially want to minimize the amount of variables that can affect you. So you can focus on how you're going to affect them. As Protoss is kind of like pulling out a deck of cards and seeing how many you're actually able to play, especially in the best of 5, best of 7 series, which is why Protoss has historically struggled, especially against Zerg, whose entire deal is, I'm going to learn what you're going to do, and I'm going to crush it. Okay? That's a lore-accurate representation. Whereas the Terrans are like, I don't care about what y'all doing. I'm going to make Marines. And I'm offending some people, but they're my people, so that's okay. Moving on. But, thankfully no Terrans here to muddy the waters. It's going to be an Oracle. Now, Hero, it all comes past the first 3 Oracles. It's now, like, we build 3 Oracles. That's what we do now. Okay? Anything that isn't building those 3 Oracles is cause for, at the very least, a raised eyebrow. Past that, well, Brenda, oh my, Oracle take a lot of damage there. No reason to be risking these. Oracle 3 is on the way, 2 already out. Plus, not +1. Well, +1 Evo. Dark, I think looking towards that melee attack upgrade. Which eventually, and now this is true, becomes +2 melee attack. Which allows your banelings to kill probes in a single hit. As well as just generally be quite great. Yeah, there's that melee attack. Twilight and Forge. Remember, Hero did win game 1. So, if it ain't broke, you don't necessarily need to fix it. Though Dark already adapting. Some great Oracle micro out of Hero. It is a bit of a finicky unit when it comes to actually getting drone kills. A lot of acceleration, deceleration, and the ability to kind of cancel the animation after the attack. And what I'm trying to say is it's not easy to do. All right. Timing is everything. Speaking of, charge for Hero. Not Blink. He's got a Templar Archives on the way. He's going a different direction. So, I'm not sure how this stacks up against the +1 melee. Dark does not have a Baneling Nest yet. This looks to be, instead of the Blink Stalker, kind of map control timing. This looks a lot more like a quick 3-base charge lot Archon attack. We will see. Eddie on 4 more gates. That'll give him 8 in total. No robotics facility yet. Archons merging. 2 more gases, so Hero does want to progress this further. Not just some sort of all-in. but definitely a different sort of attack. Baneling Nest on the way. Now, Dark with his classic move of walling off with his key tech buildings, which he usually gets away with, but has occasionally screwed him. +1 melee is done, +2 should be joining it. Dark, of course, scouting for the 4th. hero not escorting that probe. Roach speed. Ooh. Well, here comes Hero. He's got 66 probes, full 3-base saturation. He's got Archons, and he's got plenty of gates to put together an attack. Zerglings will catch a handful of Zealots. +2 melee starts, +2 ground weapons for Hero. I have no idea how this shakes out, as Hero is looking to play this very safe, kind of... I think just the existence of the Archons and the charge lots has threatened Dark here. You have to respect it. You cannot underbuild units against this. You will die, especially once the Warp Prism is out. If they win a fight, warp in another 8 charge lots, almost impossible to turn the tide on that momentum. But Hero isn't committed all out to the attack, but instead is getting a robotics facility, a second robo. He's got his 4th, building more probes. Dark has also slipped past 70 workers. Warp Prism heads in towards the main. +1 air weapons is already on the way, I might add. So, Dark, or a Hero looking towards the skies, yet again. There is no anti-air outside of Queens. Yeah, a lot of cannons coming up here. Hero clearly fortifying his position as we go into the mid-game. Though +1 air doesn't do anything for no air units. But I think he's just working his way up there. Honestly, carriers without any attack upgrades take way too long to kill anything, especially in small numbers. The interceptors actually have 2 attacks when they're firing. So that means weapon upgrades scale quite nicely. And armor also works well against them. Multiple stasises, or Stacy. Stace. No, you know what? Working at taking suggestions. Stasis wardies. Another one. A bit of a force field. We got some of +2 melee, finishing the moment that Dark attacks. That is not a coincidence. He tries again on the right flank. Some of the Banelings are rolling past. The Archons will try to hold the line. Dark bashes through the defenses. The Disruptors are dangerously close. A counter shot is fired out. Another set of Zerglings from the back. Another Ruptor finds a big connection on the Roaches. The Zerglings are closing the distance. The Archons, their shields are nearly gone. They're still going up against the Roaches. Juggles back. More Banelings. Archons again. Charge lots throw themselves into the fray. Banelings evaporate them near immediately. The Zergling count is getting overwhelming. The Oracles are out of energy. And Dark, with just a handful of Roaches and Zerglings, manages to break through. And Hero might not have enough to stop him. Oh, it was so close. But yet, so far, a few of those Archons with a little more shields may have been enough. Tries a counterattack with the Prism, but Dark knows what he has, and what he has is quite a lead. It's not over yet. He did not have the ability to close it out. Roaches, Zerglings, and Banelings are going to struggle against such an entrenched Protoss in that regard. But now, this is Dark's game to lose. He has the economy. He has the army supply. That's really all you need at this stage. It's just going to be a question of how he wants to deal with the carriers, as he doesn't have any direct response to that. He hasn't seen any carriers yet, as Hero, of course, didn't have them. But now, I think a couple are on the field. Yep, with +1. Hero has to recall Zealots. and then they get hit by banelings anyways seconds later. Of course, they did block them out. Disruptors looking for an opportunity. Stasis actually maybe denying them some of that opportunity. Still, banelings rolling by. Dark finding 8 more probes. Spire is on the way. Another attack, not as successful as the last one, but a success nonetheless. As Dark continues to whittle down the probe count and deny the additional expansions. So, with all that, Dark is in prime position to, this time around, whip out the Corruptors and knock the carriers out of the sky. If he loses too much of his army support, well, I think hero realizes it's not a good timing, but it's not going to get much better. He needs to try to put himself out there. He can't let Dark just build up and keep hitting him, as he doesn't really have anywhere to fall back to. So trying to stay on the edge of the creep. He still has the oracles, the carriers, a few disruptors. 13 corruptors on the way for Dark. 4th Nexus attempted yet again for hero. The Zergling count, 92 of them, with +2 melee attack. 4th base is spotted. We know what the target will be for Dark. How does he split his army into several groups? Or does he just look to smash? There are now half a dozen carriers approaching that most dangerous mark. Once you get towards the double digits, it becomes very difficult, even with Corruptors. But here comes Dark. Streaming in the Zerglings. The Archon's well protected for now. Disruptor shot wards away. Dark is maxed out, 17 banelings. He's taking this army very seriously, as well he should. The army supplies are near even. Corruptor's kind of sharking around. +2 ranged attack is finishing up. Exploratory Ruptor Novas. Not finding anything. In fact, he's out of Ruptors. Oh, 1 cooled down, immediately taken out. Here comes Dark. Looking for an opportunity. Kind of moving away from the Archons here. Archon's not able to do enough damage. The ground army is running the table right now. The Corruptors are actually struggling against those mildly upgraded carriers here. But the Roaches and Zerglings have overrun the ground. It looks like 2 carriers may make it, but hero will not, as Dark strikes back. Game 2 goes to the final boss. A well-executed and overwhelming set of Roach Zergling attacks, followed up by enough to knock the carriers out of the sky. Pretty textbook from Dark. Hero with a valiant defense, but it just was not enough. We're all tied up, going in to Dragon Scale. Game 3. Jimmy, please. Jimmy. No, they don't have to like yet. We'll sell out at the end. Yeah, 1,061. Okay. We're just making up numbers. I gotta... it doesn't even do anything. Dark manages to get his hatchery at his natchery. And that is already quite nice to start. That Zest portrait is great, though. Come back to us, Zest. Hero playing a decidedly un-Zest-like style in this series. Very controlled, honestly, more stats-like. Which, stats is back, but has struggled to find any success. He's played in a few smaller tournaments, but he has not qualified for anything more significant. As of yet, though, we do look forward to the opportunity. All right. Oracles on the way. You know the build. All right. All right. Close your eyes. Actually, no, you don't close your eyes. I'm going to try my best. All right. First adept heading across the map. Second adept. On this map, I think we'll be joining it. First Oracle on the way across as well. We do have the probe heading out for the third. With another Oracle rallied. Gonna poke in, try to scout with the adept. Second Oracle coming across. And shades in. Actually going right on top of the Zerglings. Trying to kill some of the drones here. Ends up losing an adept. And surprising, he decided to take that fight as the Queens are able to drive it away more than prepared. Third base finishing up for Dark. Now adding on the Twilight and the Forge is hero. As well as finishing up Warp Gate momentarily. And that third base, about 2/3 the way done. Wait, how many? We've been here before. Baneling Nest from Dark. And the Forge a little on the later side. And no Twilight, by the way. Definitely mistimed that. Partially, I think, because of... Okay, well... At first, it looked like there wasn't enough damage from these Oracles. But Dark is now down to 30 drowned. He's gonna try... Brenda! No! Where are you going? Wait, why are... What is this? A measured response? Shut up, Lucille. Shut up. Shut up. Don't listen to Susan. Don't listen to Brenda. We're going home. We're supposed to show a united front. Shut up. So, Dark will head home. Though the Queens will target... There's not enough HP, even though they won't transfuse in time. Alright, they're all united front indeed. Ah, yes. Just Dark things. Well, actually... Banelings on the way. Dark is building 7 more drones behind this. Enough Banelings to seriously threaten. But... Yeah, these seem more to... I believe... No, Hero didn't see it. Force field. Pretty good. But the Banelings crash in. So this is quite an odd scenario. Dark circumventing a lot of the issues here. He actually only has 44 drones. They're working on that now. Hero has 52 probes, which is more than he can really even use on 2 bases. So, quite an odd scenario here. Dark has thrown us into some chaos. Oh my. Few creep tumors queued up. Blinking +1. Oracle sliding in. Well, loses 1. Oh, God. Down they go. Wait, is that all of them? No, there's 1 left. Back at home. But a bit unnecessary there. As the Oracles, I think, kind of getting a bead on Dark macroing it out, but did they need to die? Probably not. Well, 4th base. Stasis. Gonna be triggered by a handful of... Oh, actually catches a few more, and I think enough to allow the Stalkers to escape. So Dark, despite all the damage he's done, it doesn't come for free. The slick blink there. Just goes right through the Zerglings. But, yeah, Dark is actually kind of recovering from his investment in those Zerglings and Banelings early, which is just such a huge larva investment. that it cut into his economy. He might be even on workers, but he only just got that. He doesn't quite have the production in. He's adding a macro hatch, multiple hatches. Zergling's looking for the surround. He's trying to preempt a blink. Wow, did you see that? His Zerglings, but the ones that couldn't attack, were patrolling around, waiting for the blink. Problem is, the Zergling count wasn't nearly high enough to be so cute as to do that, but... Oh, Dark Shrine finishing up. And hero, with something of a deadly army going forward. I don't think the Stalkers are going to do it, but anything else being added in may tilt the scales here. More Zerglings on the way. +2 melee, +1 carapace. Well, that's a lot of links. There's still the stasis back there. Now, that is an interesting scenario. That's essentially a force field. Well, I'm not sure who that helps more, because you don't want to blink over, because then the Zerglings on both fronts can pen you in. A +2 ground attack is done for those Stalkers, making it that much easier to slice through all the defenses. A handful of DTs are warped in. Dark is not going to have a large window. Well, actually, he just builds Archons out of them, alright. Which are a little more costly when it comes to minerals, but slightly less costly when it comes to gas than Templar Archons. Of course, you can go for those mixed Templar Archons as well. In 2010, the Protoss decided that High Templar and Dark Templar could indeed merge to form an Archon, which was very progressive, but did remove Dark Archons entirely, much to the dismay of Protoss in general. And that is Ultralisks from Dark. An Ultralisk Cavern on the way. Seven more. The Oracles. Wait, did he rebuild? Yeah, he rebuilt. I do love that. Just rebuilding the Oracles. Always having that option open. The Zerglings trying to get in. What a crazy strat. I don't know if the Ultralisk Cavern is going to be all of that. More Immortals on the way. There's already 3 Immortals and 22 Stalkers. There's 100 Zerglings, though, for Dark. That is a lot of Zerglings. 124. Battery overcharged. I don't know how they got in here, Ro, but it looks like he just went through whatever was in the wall. Some of the units have to be recalled. There's so many Zerglings. Now, Archons, of course, well known for their effect. He doesn't have Bane speed. Whatever, I guess if you have Zerglings. And the DTs are warped in. And now, finally, the Dark Templar are showing their... God, he doesn't have Bane speed. It's quite an oversight. He blinks it with the Stalkers. The Banes will bash into them, trying to get what they can. But it does feel like Dark is barely treading water right now. Just so many Stalkers and Archons. Hero has the army to beat. No amount of Zerglings can beat 6 Archons, except maybe on the wide open field with no support. 140 Zerg. Oh my god. That is so many Zerglings. +2, +1, he's trying, but the Archons are still doing so well. Stasis pens in a few units, but with Ultras in production, it doesn't matter. Hero knocks him out and puts another one on the board, up to match point. Hero is able to get the job done. Dark with a bit of a haphazard Ling Bane attack throughout. Just not quite able to break through. I do love the near 200 Zergling strat, but it just doesn't end up being enough. Hero's playing too careful. I don't even think he left the door open at the wall. I think the Zerglings went through like an adept or something. So, not making the mistakes that have sometimes plagued him. It seems like right now Dark is struggling to pin Hero down. And that means just one game away. Match point. Dark versus Hero, the Korean StarCraft 2 League Finals. Make sure to check out the info on the KSL in the description as well, Jimmy. Hopefully you're enjoying the commentary. Hopefully I'm making your day a little bit better, as I always try to do. Well, also I just like casting, alright? There's something about the sound of my own voice. Moving on. Dark, a little supply. Okay, finishes up the hatch at the third. Not able to get his natchery. No proxy. I haven't seen a proxy yet from Dark in several weeks. Interesting. I haven't watched all his games yet from ESL Summer. Make sure to recommend. But I did see he struggled a bit with the ZVZ, which is not particularly surprising. But I don't know. Hero historically has won over half of their series, and it seems to be tilting a little further in that direction. Dark, not able to really pull one over on the smiling assassin. Just too wholesome, too prepared. And really, Hero does look even another level. He's ratcheted up. I wouldn't say he's gone to the next level, but I'd say he's a marginal increase. He's upped it a notch. Like, not like a full level, but like just the little details that aren't always there. Then again, that's Hero every other day. That's a part of the issue with Protoss in general, and Hero specifically, is on some days it looks like he's solved the game. All right, you figured it out. Now you know how to play it. And the next day, he just lets 20 Zerglings in his base. So, like, all right. And it's not over yet. We still have that opportunity. But Dark has been grasping at some Zergling-flavored straws here, which are not well known for their efficacy against Mass Archon, for example. I'm not going to close my eyes and cast again. Got thrown off last game, but it is a quick forge with the third Oracle. Twilight as well. What flavor are we going to have this time? I think we're trending towards a blink yet again. Especially on a map of this magnitude. It's a large one. Yo, Stasis at the back, he's gonna come in for another one. A lot of the drones not mining, and some of them frozen out. The Queen. Well, the Oracles are kind of pinned back here. He has enough for another Stasis, trying to come in around. Could just target it with the Queen. So yeah, it does. There starts. Blinking +1. Another Oracle comes in. Hero getting real fancy with these Oracle. Roach 1. On the way. So, honestly, while it's been an exciting and a dramatic series thus far, nothing that's really going to lend itself to a clickbait title very well. I will say, we've had the very, very standard Oracle builds. We've had Roachling, the attempt at mutas in game 1 from Dark, but mostly a more conventional ground army. So far, very much within the standard lines of Protoss versus Zerg. Lair is done for Dark. We got 65 drones as well, adding some more roaches on. Trying to make sure he has enough to deal with the potential blink timing. +1 and blink. 4th hatchery on the way. Roach speed. Oh, it's one of the Oracles. Wow, Hero Look at that. Hero immediately started another Oracle. Like, as it went down, he started another Oracle. That's the number. There must always be 3. Last one and blink complete. That moment. Another forward operating base as well. Or a forward operating pylon. A FOP, if you would. Hatchery taking a lot of damage so far. The Oracles kind of waiting for their opportunity to participate. If Dark gets too pushed out here, the Oracles can start burning through the Zerglings. Stasis, of course, providing some great support. Blink Stalker's looking good. Fight is escalating. Stasis is used on just a handful of Lings. No way to control that. Besides trying to zone him out entirely. We got a Spire on the way. More Zergling. We're just going to brawl it out at the 4th. Speaking of, Hero about to take his own to the north. Another Stasis on the back line. Handful of Zerglings about to get out as well. Dark actually moves out to deal with them. I'm not sure if he noticed the second Stasis. Another Oracle on the way. So actually just going towards that. Roaches and Lings. I think he's not acting like he sees the Stasis. But a bad Stasis here could definitely turn the tide of the entire game. Like, if even a third of this army gets caught in Stasis, Dark will get overrun by the Stalkers. There are too many of them. It's a very tenuous position right now for Dark. He's able to zone out the Oracles. I'm sure he suspects the 4th Nexus as well. Oracles working their way around. We're still building up. The tension mounts. The supplies grow. Oh, the Stasis? Not nearly as devastating as it gets 3 Zerglings. Okay. More Zerglings on the way. +2, +1. For Hero. He's kind of just biding his time, but here comes Dark. Looking to overrun the Blink Stalkers on the ground. Gets a couple. Gonna shave off some of the Zerglings as Hero. Blasts away the gateway. 13 Mutas. That's the big choice here for Dark. Gonna try to swing in with the Mutalisks before Hero can react. There's plenty of Stalkers on the field, but they're struggling enough against the Roach Ling. They are not in position to help provide anti-air cover. But the Oracles, on the other hand, well, Oracle's also vulnerable to Mutas. God, it's going to be so many Mutalisks. Well, Roaches and Lings. How many Mutas in the field? 17. I think he's going to try to win the fight with them. That's what these are for. Even a few Adepts getting involved. A bunch of charge lots in towards the natural. Dark is not going to have much time to deal with this. The Mutas show up. Hero, I think, about to realize the Roach Horn itself may die. Corrosive Biles at the front. Another round of charge lots coming across. Like a tower defense wave over here. There's enough Mutas to deal with it. Enough Mutas to chew through it quite quickly. Templar Archives on the way. The Queens at the edge of the creep might be sniped off. In fact, the Evolution Chamber may be targeted here. It looks like it'll live for now. Another round of charge lots could take it out. Not that that's necessarily a high priority. Spore Crawler burnt to a crisp there. As well as the Queens struggling to deal with the Oracles, but the Mutas! The Mutas! Oh, they're chasing down those Stalkers! There's no Phoenixes here! The Muta count is so damn high! The Roaches and Lings! Oh, you gotta be careful of your own Corrosive Biles. Hero has 78 probes. But the supply gap is massive here. Dark needs to strike while the proverbial flying iron is hot. The Mutas do not get better over time. The longer Hero has to prepare for them, the easier it gets to deal. Unless, of course, he just keeps going Stalker, in which case the Mutas at some point, because they can fly and all stack up in kind of the same area, they eventually get to a point where Stalkers are not enough. the Stalkers just won't win the fight because the Mutas can pick wherever they do. Plus 2 melee on the way. Dark does not have an infestation pit. He does not have a Hydralisk Den. I don't even think he rebuilt the Roach for him. So it's Mutas and Zerglings. A handful of the surviving Ravagers are actually going to be taken out here. Ferocibao easily dodged. Stalker counted 33. We're going into a base trade as the Mutas headed in towards the natural. Stalker's chasing on the other side. This is the most convoluted but appropriate possible outcome. Muta's going for the third, trying to gut the economy. The Stalkers and the Zealots doing the same on the other side. The Zealots will cut through the fourth, the natural in the third. The Mutas are at the third and now going to the fourth of Hero. Neither side trying to fight the army. It looks like they're going to obliterate each other's economies and then see what's left. Muta's an amazing unit in a base trade scenario. What? Wait, whoa, okay. Wait, you gotta get a drone out. I'm looking at it now. This may... Now, it's at this point, I remind you, that in StarCraft 2, the technical way to win the game is to eliminate all of your opponent's buildings. Which is rarely, incredibly rarely, relevant at this level of play. So often will we see the game just end well before that. But this may be one of those games that it becomes an actual factor. As right now, Dark is very quickly running out of buildings. Hero is cutting through the lair. Dark is supply blocked. He just reflexively makes some overlords. He has a hatchery on the other side of the map. So Dark is at severe risk of losing all of his buildings. There are 35 Mutalisks against 33 +3 +1 Blink Stalkers. I am pretty sure the Stalkers win, but I am by no means... I think there's just too many of them. The Mutas only have +1. I think Dark overestimated the power of his Mutas. Oh, what an anticlimactic yet not unexpected ending. Dark didn't drag that out. He decided to try to fight while he could. I don't know if that was the right call, and clearly now, it seems like maybe not the ideal end, but Hero ends up taking it 3-1. A hectic, chaotic series, but Hero locks it down, and he knocks him out. I gotta say, Hero looking back to his stable, it's a compliment. That's a compliment. It's not like boring. It's like, yes, a Protoss player you can rely on to be able to execute a style consistently and not rely entirely on surprising their opponent. But Dark, unable to sneak one by Hero. Well, more than one. And this time around, Hero yet again, the victor, the Korean StarCraft 2 League Weekly Finals. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out the KSL in the description below. What are we, Jimmy? 1,061 likes. I'll cast another series. I'll probably do it anyways. But good luck. Have fun. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Stay chill.